Edo State Governor Obaseki don carry waka with German Minister of State for Culture and Media Claudia Roth and other delegates for German government go the site of Edo Museum for West African Art Emoa on Monday for Benin City. Already so will be the director of Pavilion Emoa, yarn Governor Obaseki and the German people waiting go the shell for the museum.
We are keen to keep this space open and collaborative in the sense that there will be that membership could change every circuit. But the most important thing is that they are there to provide strategic direction and ensure that whatever we are executing here is at international standards, and that we're accountable, that we're transparent, and that we're inclusive. We're also very happy to acknowledge just how positive and collaborative the relationship has been with the National Commission of Museums and Monuments. We currently have a partnership with them that covers our focus on digitization and documentation, and also going into less resource spaces such as conservation and heritage management. And like I mentioned before, it would be a shame if all we did was sat in a building and not impact on the wider environment and community. And what we are very happy to be in a position to do is actually working with the authorities here to think about how the projects that we're cultivating here could actually re-energize the city. How do you integrate the physical heritage and the living culture and heritage with the wider urban planning direction? So we are working closely with the Honorable Commission for Culture, Arts and Tourism to think about how this can play a part in education, can play a part in ensuring that when you come to Benin, that there's an integrated experience.
Governor Obaseki took more to Tori people after the inspection. Governor Obaseki yarned about the stolen artifact and how Edo people go benefit from their return.
This conversation has been on for almost a year and a half. The conversation, in fact 2 years, conversation about restitution and the returns of these works. I am very excited and very glad because it's people may not understand the implication and impact and importance of what we're doing now. In years to come, they will, hopefully, Edo people and Nigerians will come to appreciate that we took the right decision. First, to put pressure on those who are currently holding prized pieces of artifacts, that these works actually belong to us, that these works were forcibly taken away from this city, and there was a lot of destruction and carnage that went with it. And at the minimum, as part of that healing, part of that reconnection, should involve first returning these works to where they belong, at least some of them. But more importantly, whether they are all returned or not, what is most important is the ownership, that these works don't belong to the people who are currently holding them, that these works belong to Edo people. And since Edo is now part of Nigeria, these works should come back to Nigeria. The Germans were the first to accept the argument, to buy into this line of thought. And for them, because they have a conscience and they are dealing with the issues of colonialism and the way they treated the colonies, and that has sparked public debates in Germany and ethical and moral debates. We're glad that we were able to extend that debate to the issue of restitution and returns of work. So there's quite a lot of German support from not just the central government, the federal government of Germany, but also some of the regional governments who were keeping some of these works in their museums. For us as a state, we are glad that we've been able to serve as a catalyst to make this happen. Before I came into office, about 12 or so years before I came into office, the conversations had been on, discussions had been on, but we realized that it was not going to go anywhere except the Edo State government stepped in. And it was the intervention of the Edo State government that facilitated the returns of these works and the increased conversations around the return. So for us, we've just served as a catalyst. How are we going to benefit from it? Like you heard from the presentation, it's not the works in themselves. It is the whole ecosystem that we will be creating. First, there's so much we don't know because of that disconnection of what happened, how we used to live, how we used to deal with our environment. We need knowledge, we need research. And these pieces coming back serve as a point, a contact point, to begin research work as to who we are as a people. And never again are we going to sit and allow outsiders to tell us about our history, to explain to us who we are and what our objects mean to us. So by bringing them here and having this sort of facility, the research that will be undertaken by us, and local content will be now locally contextualized for us to make meaning. Secondly, it'll serve as a stimulation because Edo people are still very creative. So the same people who created these world-class pieces 500 years ago, it's the same blood that flows in their veins today. Many of them are expressing themselves in different art forms and in different media. But there is nothing institutionalized. There's no infrastructure to support that. So a facility like this will be that infrastructure, which will be second to none on the continent to support our budding artists. Whether in the traditional arts, in music, in entertainment, so what we've done with the Victor Waifu Creative Hub. So it's about enacting that creative and cultural instincts that is in our DNA.
On top of the visit of the German minister, Obaseki talks.
We were in Germany about 6 months ago when I met her in office and we talked about this project. So members of parliament to see how we could get support from the German government for some of the initiatives. They were concerned about migration. We tried to explain to them that migration cannot be seen outside the context of a cultural displacement. And we agreed on very many areas of cooperation and collaboration. And so they're coming in today just means it's a follow-up to the fact that yes, they heard us and they were, their commitment to work with us was genuine, and that's what we are seeing expressing today. They are, partially contributing to fund the Pavilion project. AMOA is raising money internationally because, as you know, AMOA is a charitable trust. It's a trust. It's a charitable trust, an open platform to raise money to help us preserve our heritage. It's not a money-making venture. Nobody's making money from this. People are going out spending their energy, spending their resources, spending their connections to try and put Edo before the world, to make Edo attractive for people who globally are concerned about preservation of heritage, to also take an interest in it. And they want to see a certain type of institution to do it. And something that is transparent, something they can see through. And that is what AMOA has done. And we've supported them. And like I said, any other serious interventions by public or private individuals, the Edo State government will support, because our goal, like I said, is to make Edo the place to come to. Like I've said, if you have 1 million visitors coming into Edo a year, spending an average of $1,000, that's more than our state budget. That changes our economy. We don't have to be waiting for allocations from the federal government. So that is why this is very important for us. And we want to use this opportunity to plead and beg those who love Edo to support this project. This is for the benefit of all of us. It's for our future as a people.
People went and out Governor Obaseki for this inspection. Now, German Minister of State for Culture and Media, Claudia Roth, Chief of Staff to Edo State Governor Osai, and other delegates from the German government. Omo Anuke at Jakaye, TMC TV News. We couldn't remember, say your PVC and your power. Don't say I'm giving a politician an election day.